Hey, welcome back here to the Central PA Pour, and we have three of us in the studio again. Kevin's not traveling, Dave's sitting here, and it's freaking raining outside.
Miserable.
Yeah. So it's pretty ugly here. April showers bring what? Mayflowers? Is that what they say?
Yeah, that's what I hear. But it also makes the grass grow. I'm going to go run up here to the hardware store and see if I can rent a harvester for next week so I can get through my grass.
Yeah, I didn't get the mowing before that's done, man. So hey, don't forget subscribe to our YouTube channel. Look us up on all your social media platforms and podcast wherever you get your listening. So take a look at that at Central PA Pour. Kev, you're traveling again here soon?
Carolina's tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Week.
All right. All right. So we look for us this summer. We got a bunch of festivals coming up. This is the beer fest season, and it's getting ready to get kicked off here. And we're going to probably hit some of them. I know we're going to be hopefully down at the Glen Rock Brews and Arts Fest. Ales for Tales is going to be in at Gift Tours and Brew Kids. So keep an eye out for that. Us out there on the road, but sitting in studio right now, we have some special guests, and we are going to let them introduce themselves and who they're with. So welcome, gentlemen, to the Central PA Pour. Glad to have you here.
Glad to be here. This is Jonathan Sanders from Something Wicked Brewing, Hanover, Pennsylvania.
And it's Josh Kynard from Something Wicked Brewing, and the head brewer.
All right, guys. So welcome to the Central PA Pour. Something Wicked in Hanover. Now, you guys you're real close to, I think it's Fat Bat. I mean, you're right there in that square. There's three of you guys right there, right?
Correct. We actually are not in the same building as Fat Bat, but we share a wall pretty much. So they're right around the corner.
Nice.
So where can they find you? Are you on the web, social media, stuff like that?
Our website is somethingwickedbrewing.com. You can also find us on Instagram at SWBrewCo or Facebook at Something Wicked Brewing.
And I hear you're the social media guy, correct?
By default, I guess, is the way to say it.
It's back and forth. Back and forth. I try to take pics, and when I have free time, and John does too, and between the both of us, I think we nail out some pretty decent stuff for what it is.
Absolutely. I think Josh is trying to give himself too much fucking credit. No, during COVID, I didn't have a whole lot to do, so taproom manager is my actual title, but social media kind of, when I didn't have a whole lot to do because the bar was shut down, gave a little more attention to the beers, and our kitchen program's come along the way in the last 2 years, so taking pictures of that stuff and just trying to give people a reason to come in.
Well, that's it. I mean, and you know, I've heard a lot about you guys. Unfortunately, I will say I have not been there physically yet, but we will. I've had your product before, and it's what I've had was fantastic. Josh, you are the head brewer. Is that your title?
Yep, that is my title.
You look awful young to be a head brewer, so kudos to that. You're looking young. Unlike us, we look old. What got you in into the brew scene?
So brew and beer wise was just, me and my best friends drinking craft beer, getting into it. When I was like 22, when I was like 20, I started brewing kombucha. So that kind of was my entry into like fermentation, yeast, bacteria, all that kind of stuff. So that kind of gave me the push and like want to kind of explore more in that. And then after going into kombucha for like a year, I started fermenting it with honey instead of sugar. So that took me into the mead world. And I live in Gardner's, so kind of apple country.
Okay.
And there's a farmer's market that's not too far down from us that I tried to source honey from. And they told me where they sourced their honey. It was like a Mennonite family down the street from me. So I went down there and grabbed a 50-pound pail of honey and just started making, more kombucha and mead with it. And then that kind of transferred into beer.
Oh, that's awesome. So,
yeah.
John, how'd you get into this?
Knew the right people. I had to tell everybody there used to be a bar in town called Klinger's. When I got out of college, graduated, reconnected with a high school friend who had done a semester abroad in France, went to Belgium, got into craft beer, European craft beer, that is. But I mean, still came back and we were drinking Natty Bows. And said,
that's
hey, we got
craft beer.
Exactly. We got to go to this place in Hanover and try some different stuff. Walk in, the bartender is a guy we went to high school with that Greg wrestled with, Little John. So shout out Little John. But anyway, got into doing that. He started working at Warehouse Gourmet. It was one of the first breweries in Hanover. Raising cattle, I started collecting the grain from those guys. Made that relationship that grew into the guys that started with Something Wicked and the rest of the breweries in town. But they were looking for a part-time brewer and a part-time manager for the tap room. Long story short, I put in my application. No brewing experience, no management experience, but I knew him. So got a phone call from him, I don't know, a day or two later, like, did you put in for this? You know, we'd love to have you. We didn't know it was even an option. And that was 6.5 years ago. So.
Wow, that's awesome. Hey, I don't know anything about running a business, but I can drink beer. That's great. So whose idea was it to start the business, and how did that come about?
I'll cover that one. All right, so I'm the taproom manager. I'm not a brewer. I'm not the owner. It's always like my go-to line. There's 6 owners. They were all in the Parrot Head Society, Jimmy Buffett fan club. All went to the Outer Banks every year. 20, 30 of them in a shot. The 6 owners all homebrewed. So they go to the Outer Banks, bring the beers to try out. Got to be a couple years later, Steve Benzo bought the building that we are currently in. Excuse me. That we are currently in. Sorry.
Keep going. Lost your train of thought.
I lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
Anyway, Steve bought the building as an investment, building investment. It was a moose lodge.
Okay.
So they turned the kitchen space into brew space so they could all get together and home brew. And then pretty much just there's a big picture window. Looked out and we're like, oh, we could have a tap room. So, snowballed from there. Kind of like you guys were talking about your setup in here. You see it now. You don't realize the sweat equity and little investments along the way. But
when they started, they were like turning and burning on like 1-barrel batches. So
Okay.
they bought like a 3 vessel, 1-barrel system, hot liquor tank, boil, kettle, mash tun. And
You're turning a lot of product on that.
Yep, and they just kept running that for a while, and they advanced more and bought a 3-barrel brew house before I even started. I started with them in 2019.
Okay, so you've been with them for a few years, so that's awesome. Now, are you pretty much running the brew house side of it, and you're running the tap room side of it?
Yep, you got it.
And the owners are just paying the bills.
Yep.
There's definitely odds and ends stuff that help us out with us. We should start with the 6 owners. So there's Bill and Bridget Seiler. Once again, they all have full-time jobs or retired. So Bill kind of handles the taxation stuff, the forms and that kind of background nonsense. His wife, Bridget, handles pretty much our accounting. Jim and Cindy Staub are 2 people that we can call on for anything that we need.
That's awesome.
Cindy's was a full-time graphic designer, so a lot of our promotional, T-shirts and that kind of stuff.
I love the logo.
Yeah,
I love the
she
logo.
designed that. And it's
Yep,
probably
that's
one
all
of
her.
our best things that people come in and go, oh, I love the logo. I got to buy something that has it, glass, whatever. Scott is the 6th owner, but like I said, the big thing is that we do Bloody Mary brunches once a month. That's when they really shine on busting their asses for a day. So.
That's cool.
You can definitely see them in there hanging out.
It's good to have an owner that's supportive, and trust you guys to run their business that they developed. So I think that's awesome. So brewing wise, and you came up through doing the meads and the kumbachas and stuff, and you were under 21. So you could make it and drink it. You couldn't buy it.
Yes, essentially, yeah. So shortly after I started making mead, I was actually working at a lot of nurseries. Horticulture work was my jam, so I loved all that stuff. So, and I actually was working at Stauffer's of Kissel Hill, not the Dover location here, actually in Mechanicsburg.
Okay.
And I was working in the nursery, and the first year I was there, it was a hot summer day, and I'm walking around the office, and I see these 2 like half-gallon little pots outside, and they had these little straggly vines coming out, and the leaf structure was familiar to me. And I was like, my manager walked by, and I was like, Heath, what are these? They look like hops. He's like, they are hops. I'm like, why are there hops here? You guys don't sell hops here. He's like, last year was our last year doing it. considering we're a Christian-based company, they just stopped doing it last year to promote like any kind of alcohol use. I'm like, what are you going to do with them? He's like, you're going to take them home. It's like, do you know what variety they are? He goes, yeah, they're Cascades. And I said, okay.
Oh, I can find something to do with the Cascade.
Yeah, so I threw them back in my yard, and they're still growing today like weeds. I mean, they go 20 foot tall now, but either way, I planted them in my ground, and that was when I was 21. So then, I was drinking craft beer with my friends and stuff, and one of my friends' family members decided to link me up with a guy who homebrewed because I showed my interest in wanting to do it, and they linked me up with him. He taught me how to do an all-grain batch or two, and I kind of took that with me, and then we ran down the Scotts and Brothers in Lemoyne.
Yep.
It's a homebrew store.
Yep, I know where it's at.
I fucking spent a couple bills there and bought all my all-grain equipment, and me and my buddies just kind of, we got the bug. We were headstrong in it, staying up till 3 a.m. I think we were using Brewer's Friend at the time, just a free recipe design for little 5-gallon batches, and we were kind of, headstrong about it and, geeked out about it a lot. And
it is fun.
We were just whipping up batches left and right and just having fun with it and loving it. So
that's awesome. So you went to college, John?
Yeah, I am a dairy scientist, as some may say. I have a bachelor in dairy science from Delaware University.
Okay.
Wow, that's cool.
So
this beats milking cows.
Yeah, well, I never got into milking cows. The dream was to do vet work, and about a week into college, I was like, "There's no way I'm going to pull grades to go to vet school." And then it was a pipe dream to start like a creamery, bottle milk, that kind of thing, because that's the way to go if you're going to try and milk cows these days, unless you want to have a couple thousand. But no, I actually bred cows for a number of years coming out of school. Learned real fast that driving around to farms that are going out of business, was not a long-term career decision. So that's when they were looking for someone to help out in the brewery. I was like, I already know these guys. I love drinking beer. So yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. And that's one thing I think the three of us have found is every story is unique of how you guys are creating what opening, going from a home brewer or an aspiration to brick and mortar. Every story is unique, and that's awesome. But I think we got a beer.
Yeah.
We have a beer sitting in front of us. So what is our first beer we're going to try?
So this beer is called Cobblestone. It is an American lager. We recently took a field trip down to Deer Creek Malt House. If you're familiar with that, it's right outside.
I've heard of it. Yes,
it's a local floor malting house out of Glenville, Pennsylvania, I believe. So it's a little before Philly. We did a collaboration with a brewery in town, Sign of the Horse. And while I was down there, I picked up an extra bag of their double Dutch malt, which is pretty much like a light Munich.
Okay.
So because I got that bag, I ran this little lager, and it's 2-to-1 ratio of floor malted Bohemian Pilsner and Deer Creek's double Dutch malt. We ran a single decoction on it, and then hopped it with some Hallertau and Saaz, I believe. And then, ran it with a 3470 yeast and lagered it for 6 weeks. So we kind of put this beer on a pedestal. Most lagers we run a single decoction on because we feel like that helps.
Nice and clear.
Yeah, we don't use any fining agents either. I find that a solid 4-week lagering period can just bring a beer brilliantly clear. So,
Cheers to Cobblestone. And you say it's just an amber lager?
Yep, it's just an amber lager.
Oh, it's got a nice like a malty sweetness aroma on it. It is crystal clear. That is a nice clear amber.
Damn good.
And it's good. That's really good.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
Thanks, man. I appreciate
Kudos,
that.
man.
Yeah,
Kudos.
appreciate that.
So that was with a local malt house, some of their malt.
Yep, some of their malt. And then, like I said, we did a single decoction on it. So we take a portion of our mash out and boil it. And we're able to do that because, I have a 3-barrel brew house, and then I have our little 1-barrel brew house that my boss has started on. So I can take that 1-barrel boil kettle and move it over, separate a portion of my mash into that 1-barrel boil kettle, slide it over, hook the gas up again, and then we can boil that thick mash for about 15 minutes and then reintroduce it.
Oh, wow. That's a new... That's different.
Yeah, I've already glazed over it there, but it's very labor intensive, and Josh has made it his passion project to make these lagers, and I think people are really appreciating them.
That is definitely very good. Kind of getting like a little coffee note at the very end.
Yeah.
And that just kind of hit that little coffee note at the very end at the palate.
I could see that. Definitely boiling some of that double Dutch malt can help like caramelize that grain and give it some different nuance sort of vibes to it. So
It's very good.
Yeah. Kevin, did you empty the can?
No.
Good.
John did.
I was thinking about it.
We could do that. We could do it a little later. I just wanted
right
to
on.
know if there was, some left. Maybe on the next break. That's
Gotta
very
be
good.
He never goes back for seconds.
Yeah, that's a very good beer.
yeah, appreciate that, man.
I would say up until about, I don't know, whenever we started doing lagers, I would say I'm not a lager guy, and Josh has made me a lager guy because we have a Luker side pour tap that we do Milko pours. I always took it as a gimmick until we got it, and then at the end of the night, at the end of a shift, taking something like this, you get that coffee flavor and just drinking it like this. The Milko pour just accentuates that. It's not like it's like taking a shot without falling on the floor type of deal.
Yeah, and I've never really. I know what they are, and certain beers are very good on those milk pours. Certain beers are good on a side pull.
Yeah.
Like the Czech style stuff, and is very good on a side pull.
Yep. So that's pretty much why I got that installed. I was really inspired by a couple local breweries in Philadelphia, like Human Robot. I don't know if you guys heard of them. They're killing the lager game right now. I mean, they're doing it up.
Von C's another one.
Yep. Forest and Maine. They're doing all the British cask ales. I mean, all those dudes are genuine guys, and they're just killing it in their own sort of thing. But either way, like those dudes and like Pilsner Quell. I don't know if you ever had that. It's an imported.
No, I have not.
Czech Pils. It's 100% floor malted Pils, and then Saaz hops. It's literally a smash beer, but it's a triple decocted traditional beer. So they will, in that brewing process, they remove the mash, boil it 3 separate times, which is like John said, it's pretty intensive. So their brew days for that are like probably, I'd imagine like 12 hours just to brew that beer. And that comes with so much flavor and like intricate complexities just in that. Highly recommended if you're ever at a distributor, pick up a 6-pack of Pilsner Quell, try it out. You'll know what I'm talking about.
We would have a problem with that. We'd be drinking the whole time.
So either way, with those two inspirations, just made me kind of get really stoked on wanting to do that myself. And then since we have that 1-barrel boil kettle, we were able to kind of run that. And I told my assistant, I was like, dude, we're going to try to, do single decoctions and stuff. And I feel like the quality shows in it. So we're just going to continue to run with that.
That's something new that nobody's ever really discussed with us of pulling some of the mash out and reboiling it down and putting it back into the brew. That's something. Is that a new process or?
It's actually an old traditional process, like in the Czech Republic.
Okay.
So that's what they used to do back in the day in like these old copper vessels. I mean, there's so much history in that, more than I even know and can elaborate to you guys.
Wow.
But yeah.
I think that's the one cool thing about our spot is we're a small brewery. I mean, we're doing things to do them because we can. I mean, a lot of people probably couldn't pull out and do a decoction mash because their brew house isn't set up for it. We're set up where we have 2 literal brew houses. And I say brew houses, they're glorified homebrew kits pretty much, right next to each other. And he can play with it and do some of the things that maybe it's something that's a couple hundred years, 1,000 years old. We can do it again now in the modern age.
Let me back up a step. The old Moose in Hanover, where is that?
That's where we're at.
Yeah, I know. That's
Not
what
currently. I got you. So we're at 34 Broadway. If you guys were downtown, like we said, the Fat Pat's right next to us. If you're coming from the actual square on Broadway, Clark's Shoes is on the corner. It's probably the biggest thing for Hanover.
Yeah.
Landmark wise, we are directly next to them. I mean, you walk around a corner and we have an entrance on Broadway.
If you come out of Fat Bat, you make a left, go into the parking lot, and make a left.
Correct.
And your entry door is down there about halfway down.
Yeah, so it's a long building. So when it was a Moose Lodge, you walked into the back into where we're at currently, taproom wise, or you could walk in from the front. They had the buzzers.
Am I
Social
thinking
club.
right? Royal Farms is right behind you guys?
Yep.
Correct.
Okay. All right, I got it. Chris,
Yeah.
you work.
So we're going to be making a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked in
Before
Hanover
this
for all those years.
episode, before this episode launches, the CPP will be at Something Wicked.
Right on.
Right on.
So where did the name come from? Something Wicked.
The wise tale, as I tell it now, because I think it's not really truthful, was they were all out drinking, trying to figure out a brewery name. And we were talking about beers earlier. There's good names are out there, but they're all taken type of thing. Well, they came up with lists and were comparing them to lists and that's that and the other thing. And there was a storm coming in. And they said, "Oh, it looks like Something Wicked's brewing," and it was like a dead stop in your tracks.
Yeah.
Well, we have a name now.
And that was it.
Like I said, I don't know how much truth to that.
You know what? I could see the truth because
I can too.
Yeah, Christian from Liquid Hero, the three of them were out and they were, they're beer buddies and they got into it, the same kind of thing. And, so I can see that story because their name was, dude, you're my hero. No, you're my Liquid Hero. So bam, that was like their name. So I
okay.
can see that's not an old, I bet you that was true. Something wicked's coming. And we've had some wicked rainstorms here of late. So
I get jealous because some of our guests, man, they'll come up with a name like that. Well, we're not sure what to name our next beer. 5-6 names in 2 seconds.
I have a couple of Google Docs on my phone for beer names that I refer to. And try to pitch it to these guys in the brew house.
So do you get to name some beers?
I pretty much default by whoever comes up with something that's catchy enough that people think it's a
Okay.
good name.
Nice.
Have you ever come up with your own recipe, John?
No.
And let John.
I've done 2 homebrew batches. The last one was for my son's birthday or birth. That was
Oh, congratulations.
9 years ago here this
Well,
summer.
congratulations.
So that was right about the time I got hooked up with all the guys in the brewery and decided I'd come in and actually make good beer instead of my homebrew batches. So
Hey, I've never fucked up a batch.
Oh, yes.
Anyways,
Sorry about that.
moving on. I see something about a golf tournament here. What's up with that? I love golf.
I could have hit on that a little bit here at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like I said, with the Parrot Heads, they were very active in helping out with the late Ron Bean's golf tournaments, the Fat Chucks that they had. So they would that was a lot of what they did leading up to it was making beers for these golf tournaments and kind of getting their name out there that way.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool. So you guys do a lot inside the Hanover community or even beyond that. Is that what you guys are doing?
I mean, this was kind of when we started that we were doing the golf tournaments and stuff. I don't really know of anything. I know Amanda has a golf tournament coming up that they're going to try and start doing the Fat Chuck skin for the MS walk that she was just in. I'm sure we're going to brew something for that, but I don't know. Relay for Life is a big fundraiser that those guys do. I mean, we're kind of symbiotic with the club. I'm the vice president currently, but a lot of our regulars are in the group and have helped out and help with different things. So, I mean, the big thing that we do now is charities. Our blonde ale that's on tap. We set aside $1 from every sale from that.
That's awesome.
Into when we get cheerleaders or people that are out on their luck that ask for donations to this, that, and the other thing, we already kind of have a slush fund set up of this is money that's allocated to donate to
That's
different
nice.
causes. So that
I
would
like
be the
that.
one thing I would say that we do community-wise.
That's another thing that everybody expresses about donations to their local communities.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of that from these home these brewers that they have soft spots from their heart and they do. I know Sandy Bialik from Fat Bat has a lot, and it sounds like you guys are doing the same thing. I think that's awesome. This is how you support your community that are supporting you.
Yeah, I would say the one thing is Main Street Hanover. We work very closely with them. So anytime we have events with them, we've done Brewery Olympics here the last couple of summers, raising money for those guys and doing some beautification projects downtown, that kind of stuff. I had another thought, but I don't remember what it was now.
We got time.
You said that first one was 7%, right?
Yeah, sounds like you need a refill. Are you the only brewer then, Josh, or do you got some help?
I actually hired an assistant.
Okay, so you hired the assistant.
Yeah, well, not me, but I pretty much he was
John.
He hired
John's
his
your
best
assistant?
friend. Let's get over it.
Yeah, I hired one of my best friends because the assistant brewer previous from my current one, she left to where did she go, John? I can't remember.
Deschutes.
And
Bree Harvey. You can say her name.
Yeah, Bree. Well, I didn't know her last name.
Shout out to Bree.
Yeah.
She is actually back in Hanover. She's out at the markets now. So kind of the closed community of the beer community.
Yeah.
You know, one of those things where she came back and things didn't work out down south in Roanoke, so she's back in Hanover.
Yeah, but when she dipped, I was by myself again for like about 2 months, I would say, and then my boss Bill, he came out to me, he was like, "Well, Josh, I got like 1 or 2 people, but I don't know if you have any friends." And East Berlin's a small town right outside of Hanover, and one of my good buddies was living there, and I was like, "Hey, man, like, you kind of hung out with me in a couple brew days and stuff. I know you like craft beer too, man. I mean, I got a job if you're into it, dude. I mean, we'll just be brewing beer. It ain't just hanging out drinking beer all day. You'll be working, man. You'll be cleaning tanks." And
Did you have him cleaning the mash out?
He cleans the mash and boil kettle every day. So
Adam
he
does a great job. He's a great dishwasher and floor mopper.
And you know what? If he gets experience, he could be the next. You're teaching a skill.
Yep, absolutely. And he's been with us for a little more than a year now, and he can do every single thing I can do.
That's awesome.
As far as like, cleaning and,
Careful, you don't want to let him know everything. That's called job security.
Yeah. As far as the brains about it, I mean, that's definitely me. And then Adam can I can basically, what I'm saying is I can comfortably leave and know everything can be done if I don't want to be present for a day, or if I need to do some personal
So do you come up with all the recipes, or do the owners come in with recipes, or John, does he throw some ideas at you?
So basically when I started, they already were established, so there was beers. And considering I came from doing 5-gallon batches to 100-gallon batches, I definitely rode with what they had in the recipe program for a little while until I got pretty comfortable brewing. And I would do experimental hoppy ales. We have a hop experiment series that we do. I think we're up to 63. That's our 63rd one we have there, but just doing little things here and there. When I first started, to finally me being super comfortable, and by now everything, like if you go into our tap room, everything, if not, is slightly adjusted from what originally I walked into to like all new recipes. So everything you see on our 16 taps is either my recipe or tweaked after I came in. So.
Okay, so you've taken theirs and tweaked some of them, added some of your flavor to it.
Yep.
Do they and they're okay with that? They don't want it. They're letting you run the show. You guys run the show.
Yep.
Okay.
And it took about a year, and going in, them handing me a company card and being like, "Here, Josh, order all the hops, order all the grain. It's all you." I'm like, "Geez, man, I never had this much responsibility before." So it made me a little nervous for sure. And I'm ordering like $3,000, pallets of grain and stuff like that. And hops aren't cheap. Back in like 2009, Galaxy was like $30 a pound and stuff. So I'm looking at these numbers. I'm like, I guess this is okay to buy. So just doing that over time and building my confidence and seeing the return of me making recipes. My bosses were pretty much like, okay, they let the gate open. And
the reason I asked that because sometimes there are some OGs that stick with that brand, and that's from day one till whatever. So that's why I asked that question.
Yeah. Our bosses are pretty lenient, and considering, the product that we've been turning around, they are totally confident.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they definitely give us some liberties as far as what we're going to try.
And that's part of that entrustment, man.
Yeah, and I can't appreciate that more, by giving. And I think at the end of the day, that's the whole idea is, being a microbrewery, I have my creative express to do whatever I want. So, and they give me that, which is awesome.
Hey, answer a question for me real quick. I saw where you had listed the Hanover Brewery Olympics. I was just wondering what that was.
Yeah, so that was what I brought up about Main Street Hanover. I want to say Ashley started it in 2020, and then of course everybody shut down. The Olympics got moved and everything, and we did it in 21. But so between Syke and DeFreudes, that is now just a second location for Silent Horse, ourselves and Fat Bat. Each place had a event. We did like a barrel roll. Like I said before, I get the green, so I have a utility trailer. I just have 55-gallon drums we roll up, but it was kind of a load the box type of thing. Give them 4 barrels. Whoever has the fastest time wins. I think the beer house did a Steinhold, and I don't remember what Fat Bats. I know they did. They did like a cornhole tournament the first year, but I don't remember what they did last year. But either way, came up with 3 top top three teams and did a keg relay around the block between the four of them. So it was just a fundraiser for Main Street Hanover, and like I said,
is that an annual thing you're doing?
Yeah, the next one's going to be here in October. I want to say it's the 19th, maybe.
And then
I sent it to you, but
the team that wins gets to be brewers of the day, and they kind of work with us and come up with the recipe design and everything, and then they. We have them in for a day and we brew their beer.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And then they have their own release and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so it kind of gives it a little bit extra push to, have fun that day. And then, they get to kind of brew their own beer. So definitely a rewarding thing. And it's fun on both ends. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
That's nice.
Yeah, we partnered with Explore York last year. They sponsored it a good bit too. It's one of the tourism, grant programs, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I learned stuff that day. I knew that, so I can only imagine some of the people that have either homebrew experience or just craft beer drinkers to get that kind of behind the scenes look at this is what a brew day is like. I think a lot of people really appreciated that. So.
No, absolutely. Just to come in and hang out, have some beers, have an excuse to take off work, and just hang out and do what they love to drink and stuff like that. So like I'm more than happy to kind of educate. It's an education process along with just having fun and. Yeah.
This ain't all just having fun and drinking beer all day. This is work. I mean, it takes skill and it takes heavy work.
We call it networking.
This might be a question I shouldn't ask someone who has a name of something wicked, but Dark Side Saturday.
Yeah, I came up with that. I think we're on our 5th year maybe. But the first week in November, we always do a Dark Side Saturday. Josh and the brew house side comes up with a lot of recipes. I try and stash a couple sixtels along the way during the year, and then bring in a couple guest taps and stuff. And we have 16 taps on all the time, primarily all our beer, if not all our beer. But that day I have a couple mixed drink taps and cider taps and stuff I take over as well. So I think we had 25 beers on last year, and it was all dark stuff. So just try and get ahead of the Black Friday rush like everybody else does.
I'm putting that on my calendar.
Is that like a porter in barrel age?
I know right now I have our root beer float we did at the end of last summer. I think I have a 6 of that sitting. I think I have our coffee porter sitting aging.
The root beer float. We just had Adam from Cartel on, had a root beer beer. It was damn delicious. So. And the root beer came from the Amish, so it's got to be good.
Nice.
So you're into skating. I remember you saying you were into skateboarding.
Yep, skateboarder at heart for sure.
Still do it?
Oh, absolutely. Till my body don't let me anymore, I'll be skateboarding. Absolutely. And same group of friends that got into craft beer. Shout out Seth and Sam and Adam. They're still doing it with me today, and we love drinking beer and skating together. Was it 2 Fridays ago, John?
Yes.
2 Fridays ago, we collaborated with a local skateboard company out of Hanover, Pennsylvania called...
I think I did see that.
Atlantic Skateboards. Shane is the owner and the creator of it. I've been skating with him since right out of high school. So I've known him for 10 plus years as well. And we kind of just threw the idea around for the past couple months and then fabricated it into something. So we did a run of 50 skateboards. And then he came up with the digital art, and we collaborated on a special limited edition board along with a session IPA, and then did a release for it. So,
awesome, man. Yeah, that's awesome.
So just something cool, something that we both were super passionate about. And Shane is a great patron to us. He loves our beer and stuff like that. So just to have him come in and, be in the backside and have a beer day and stuff like that, it's really cool.
That's awesome.
So
speaking of beer,
yeah,
I think we have another one sitting here, and you mentioned IPA. This one kind of looks like an IPA.
Yep. So this is a session IPA called Ambient. It's primarily Strata hops. And then I threw a little bit of Citra in the Whirlpool, but all dry hop is Strata as well. I think we're clocking in at 4.8%. Cheers
to Ambient Session IPA with Strata.
Yep, Strata hops.
hit that again. So,
I tell you what, that is not overbearing. That is very I'm going to almost say like I got like a creamy feel to it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
For an IPA that's tender, it is a very tender taste. It's not, like I've had some IPAs where I couldn't help the bitter beer face coming on.
So all of our IPAs anymore, we don't even touch in the boil. It's all Whirlpool and dry hop.
Okay.
And Whirlpool, we even it's not even flame out. Hit the boil off. We cool our wort down to steeping temperatures.
It's
pretty
pretty
much.
good.
That is very good. It's smooth. It is very crushable. And
Thank
I know you said about dankness to it, but I'm really not getting any dank taste. It's an easy drinking IPA.
Yep. Smooth and just easy going.
Yeah.
See, I'm pretty in depth here on my details, so usually IPA is like a burnt rubber.
Okay.
This is damn good.
Yeah, I appreciate that,
this.
man.
I do get a lot of that, some of that tropical notes out of it. And you said that's the Strata hops bringing that in.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and like I said, I hit that a little bit with Citra in the Whirlpool as well, but it is 90% Strata, and that's about 3 pounds of pellets per barrel.
So you're using the pellets. Do you do you do a lot of the fresh hops too?
So we don't do any fresh hop beer. We did one this past year with a collaboration with Thirsty Farmer Brewworks. Are you familiar with those?
I've heard that name.
They're out of Biglerville. They have their own hop farm. So they have a little half acre that they grow their own select hops on.
Shout out to them. We'd love to have them on the show.
Yep. Shout out Thirsty Farmer. Those are good blue collar farm boys. Yep. Milty and Milton, great guys. But they grew a bunch of nugget, and I kind of, I told Milty, I was like, dude, have you guys ever done a fresh hop beer? He's like, no, but I've wanted to. I said, that sounds like a collab. So we went down there at their brew house. They have a beautiful 8-barrel brew house, I believe.
Big one. That's a big one. Yeah.
And we harvested all the hops in the morning and then brought them all in and kind of utilized them the same day we picked them from the vine.
Do you find that the fresh hops bring a different note than the pellets?
You definitely have to certainly use more. It comes, depending on the rates, it definitely comes with a little bit more of a vegetal character because, all that chlorophyll is still present in there, and there's so much moisture as well. So the loss is a lot more on brew day. It absorbs a lot of the wort. But a little bit more vegetal vibes to it, but it still turned out pretty decent for what it was.
That's cool.
So we did that totally on the fly.
You're going to have to look into Gems Farms too. Maybe get some source from those guys.
Yeah, I've heard good things about them, but I've never
had them on the show, Michael and Sharon. So I'm going to shoot a shout out to them. Maybe you guys can work with them as well.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Because I think they pelletize too, if they have to. So that is a very good, easy drinking, sessionable beer.
I appreciate that, man.
Very good. So kudos, man. You're putting out some. Like I said, I've had your beer before once or twice here in Africa. I can't remember where I had it. Probably it was at a brew fest or something. Or I might have been a guest tap somewhere. I can't remember, but I've had something wicked before, and it was very good. And it's just proven my point.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Yeah. We try our best as far as true to style, and just to me, I like to say we do really well in our hoppy ales. So,
okay. Yeah. And we were talking before we came down here to sit down, the ales are really becoming the forefront. They're coming back. Some of the old styles, and you had mentioned the style that you're talking about, taking the mash out, some of the mash out and reboiling it down.
Yeah, I feel like that is coming back into the craft beer hype. I think for a while it was the hop saturated New England IPAs for years and years. That was king. And then the kettle sours and the fruited sours kind of have been making their way very well into the game. But I feel like now there's a big push for just well-crafted lagers, which will bring that quality, bar quality up, I feel like. So.
Yeah, and 2022 was hashtag year of the lager.
Yeah. I remember a lot of cats saying that.
Yeah, so lagers were some. I mean, they still are some of my favorite. Like Yingling and Boston Sam Adams was some of my favorite go-tos. But to me, the Yingling tastes like a fucking light beer now. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's still a drinkable beer, and if I don't want to spend a ton of money, I'll go buy a case of Yingling. But I like I like this stuff better, man. It's just all around. It's just a better flavor, more crafted. It's individualized.
Yeah, absolutely.
So lager's your favorite style?
It's definitely like, I still love IPAs. I got into the game because I'm a hophead.
I'm gonna say, dude, you look like a hophead. I was just getting ready to say that.
Whoa. Love
Not a pothead, a hophead.
I love my hoppy beer. So, but now that I've kind of been diving deeper into the lagers, and since we can, perform decoction mashes and do fun stuff, it definitely has kind of spun my head around in a different direction and another more of appreciation.
If you're lagering, I mean, do you have a standalone that you can actually lager it, or is it you have a different vessel that you can lager it in?
So right now, we have our 3-barrel brew house and 6 3-barrel fermenters. And then when my bosses started, they had 4 1-barrel fermenters. About 2 years ago, my boss bought me a glycol unit for all those 1-barrel units.
Okay.
So I do 2-barrel batches, and I just send 30 gallons each into one, and I can temperature control them and then throw them both into a bright tank and lager. So yeah, it's definitely like, small batch, but we do it, because we feel like the return's well worth it. And,
Yeah, I'd love to be able to lager. I just don't have I got no way to do it here.
I never did them home brewing because I didn't have the equipment to.
Yeah.
So literally, like, when my boss got that glycol unit, that was my learning curve and time to learn.
Dude, you learned quick.
Yeah, he's killing it.
Yeah, and John, you're killing it on the social media stuff, man. I mean,
I appreciate it.
You talked about the kitchen ideas. So was that implementation from the owners, or is that something you brought to the table?
As far as
Like bringing the kitchen to, you talked about you were doing.
yeah, so I mean we've gone slow and low this whole time, putting money into the brew house, getting the beers to where we want it. We did a remodel, like I said, in 2019, not expecting, not seeing a return on that investment for 2+ years. I feel like we're just finally getting the word out to some people in town. So, but no, the idea was, like I said, we were going to have a full kitchen, give it some time to get some equipment in. And like I said, Nate's been killing it back here as far as food goes. So that's kind of my draw to it. These guys put their heart and soul into making stuff. It's my job to sell it. So social media just kind of goes hand in hand with working behind the bar.
And you never saw yourself doing social media before?
No, I'm not a 14-year-old girl. I'm on my phone way too much. You can ask my wife, but
It's a far cry from farming, isn't it?
yeah, no.
So, I mean, I think you're doing a great job, because I think I remember when you talked about that skateboard thing, you guys had some posted with the skateboards.
I publicized the shit out of that event to make sure we had
we
good
drug
turnout.
we drug John down to the skate park the one
That
day
was-
so we could do all
Yeah,
the
that was great
social
going out
media.
and hanging out with these guys, doing stuff. I mean, you said it before about not getting on a skateboard. For anybody that doesn't know, I'm sitting down. I'm 6'5", 225. My ass coming off a skateboard is going to break something. But I just went and hung out and, got some shots for those guys. And Shane did a good job editing and, splicing together to make
Yeah, he
something
did.
for social media as
So
far as that goes.
you do photography as well, or is that something?
Yeah,
that
I mean,
just
I
came
have a
with the
Google
gig?
Pixel, so it's not like I do photography. I take pictures and then I just mess with them enough that they look good.
I'd love to get like a DLSR camera or whatever and start actually shooting nice pictures, like an actual camera.
Mr. Dave.
Yeah.
Mr. Dave, it sounds like a business opportunity.
Business opportunity. Like,
Hope you work for beer.
Dave is a photographer, and so is my wife.
Nice, cool.
So it sounds like a business opportunity coming your way.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't bring it up, but we like to do things on cheap, so
I've been known to do that too. I preferred a DSLR though. I mean, it's just a lot of people. I get this all the time. It's just
Here we go. The mirrorless conversation.
Well, no, it's not the mirrorless conversation. It's the I can do just as good of a job with my cell phone as you can do with a DSLR. And obviously, they have never seen really good pictures. So
It's kind of like us with the video equipment here. We want to upgrade, but I'm not spending $1,500, $2,000 per camera.
per camera,
To bring in that kind of quality when I'm getting a decent quality out of what we got. So cheap. I like that.
Yeah.
Work on the cheap.
inexpensive is a better word for it.
Inexpensive.
No
once
doubt,
it goes
no
on
doubt.
social media platforms, it's degraded pretty well anyway. So
Oh, the
that's
social,
my
yes,
opinion.
exactly. The stuff that the stuff that's shot for the web is completely different than when you shoot something for professional. You know, whenever you're in professional studio, and I always tell everybody, I said, how many times did you see one of those presidential press conferences with guys standing back there with cell phones taking the pictures? No, everybody has a professional DSLR camera or mirrorless now today. And I can go on about that.
We're getting off that tangent.
I can go on about that. So,
how about another beer?
Oh, we could drink another beer. Absolutely.
But I got one other question before we try this. It's sour. It looks like sitting in front of us. I'm getting like you, John. I just lost my train of thought.
Now you guys are getting like me.
I'm not even going to poke that bear tonight.
Yeah,
This basement must be a black hole.
It's a beer hole.
So who's the one that likes the Imperial? One of you guys like Imperial Stouts or Imperial Bale?
I would say John's more in that world than I am.
If I'm going to have one, I want to make it a good one.
You want to make it worth your while.
Yeah, exactly.
I weigh 130 pounds, so it only takes a little bit for me to, start to get a little bit of a buzz. So, I'm pretty much one and done with those guys. But I do have an appreciation for them.
Josh, don't feel bad. I'm 6'2", 200 and some, and I'm pretty much a lightweight too. But I like the dark stuff.
Yeah.
There's been nights I tried to keep up with Kevin here with the bourbon, and that didn't happen too. It didn't turn out too well. It was a long night. So I guess you mentioned beer. Kevin's sitting here thirsty. He's got
his hands wrapped around the glass.
So all right, we might as well hit this one up while we're here. So what's this sour? This looks like a sour.
Yep. So this is our Incessant Debauchery series, which is our kettle sour series, essentially. And this one is called Morning Munchies.
Morning Munchies.
Yep. So the inspiration behind this is my breakfasts that I do. A lot of times I just gather up some fruit and granola and some almond milk and stuff, and just kind of do like a little bit of an acai bowl in a sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
How'd you say that?
an acai. I believe that I'm saying that right. I hope I'm not butchering
Dude,
it.
I will trust your pronunciation because I was kind of calling it an ass bowl, but that's fine with me. I will take your pronunciation because it sounds correct.
So basically, the inspiration's an acai bowl, but I use blackberry instead of acai. So it's basically blackberry, honey, cinnamon, banana, and coconut.
That sounds damn good.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a conglomerate there. And I mean, it looks very good.
Yep.
It's got a nice,
no lactose.
no
either.
lactose in
No
the sour.
lactose
So you're
either.
kettle souring it at a certain temperature in the kettle.
Yep. Just a 24-hour kettle sour, so it hits around 3.6 pH.
Special yeast that you're using for that souring.
Just a regular, basically an 01 or a Cali Chico strain sort of thing. Yeah.
So, and you're calling. I'm not even gonna. What was the name again?
It was called Morning Munchies.
Morning Munchies. So we're gonna cheers this thing here. So Morning Munchies, an ass bowl or whatever, acai bowl. Cheers.
Cheers.
Wow.
I know it sounds like a lot going on, but I think a lot of the flavors are there, but it's nothing like super in your face.
No.
Palate wrecking. I think we've taken I say we, I mean something we could, not me personally, because Josh is the brains behind them, but the sours, we've gotten to the point where we are at that line of thick and chunky versus, a nice clear sour. We try and get up to that thick consistency is a mouthfeel, but not like leaving your glass looking disgusting.
I like them both. I like the kettle sours. I like the smoothie sours. And speaking of that, I had just reached out to Fourscore since we're recording this before May the Force be with you.
There you go.
And Cinco de Mayo. I reached out to them because they always used to put that May the 4th Star Wars themed smoothies. They're not putting them out this year. Just to let you know. Because I was looking forward to it. But I like both those kind of sours. I like that real thick, heavy. The one Dave and I got last year, we actually had to squeeze the can to get the rest of it out.
I could believe it.
But this is very good. And you said this had some granola, some cinnamon.
So we basically went really heavy on the oats on brew day to simulate that granola vibe.
Yeah.
And then
that kind of gives it a little bit of a creamy feel.
Yep. And then, like I said, blackberry, cinnamon, banana, and coconut, and honey.
I get the coconut or something in there.
Yep.
Very good.
Primarily blackberry so puree wise, it was blackberry, banana, and coconut.
Yep, I get the blackberry.
I use a coconut cream puree that one of my vendors actually sells.
And this is a rotating series that you'll do something different with it the next time you kettle sour something?
Absolutely. This is our rotating kettle sour series.
That's awesome.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I believe when you guys release this, we'll probably have watermelon raspberry, which was very popular last year that we're going to try to do this year.
That one came back really good last year, so I figured I'd just redo that one this year. It'll give me a little time to come up with another one in the meantime. So
this is a very good. I could drink this
all day long.
I could drink this.
I needed you yesterday by the fire.
We did bump up the ABV on our sours. I think this is like 7.6.
Oh, so 7.6.
Yeah, it's like 7.5 or 7.6 or something.
That is cranking it up a little bit on a sour.
Yep.
That's pretty good. Yeah, so that's awesome. So the sours. So you got 16 taps in your tap room. What's the majority of the taps? Or it's just a big variety?
So, I would say it's a big variety. John can probably help me out on this one a little bit, but usually we always have 3 to 4 IPAs, 2 sours, and about 3 or 4 darker beers, and then 2 lagers. I don't know where I'm at with total number
I think
there.
you need to divide that by 2, but so we have a couple of flagships we try and keep on. We try and keep Sin 4 IPA on all the time. We try and keep Chaos, which we're going to try here in a minute, our coconut stout on all the time, and that charity that we talked about earlier, the blonde ale, and then obviously a lager because we have the side tap. We're trying to keep that on all the time. Try to keep at least 1 sour on, and then it kind of depends on the time of year. We're coming out of our dark beer. I think we have a Russian Imperial on currently. We still have our dry Irish stout on that we did for St. Patrick's Day.
There we go.
We did a Dunkelweizen, as a lighter dark beer option here this winter. But like I said, now we're coming to this summer. We have 2 session IPAs on. I'm ready to put a pale ale on. We have a Hefeweizen on. We have 16 taps. We're a small brewery. We can play around. We can put stuff on.
Basically, 3 flagships all the time, and then seasonally everything rotates.
So if somebody comes up here for to try them all, the flight's usually 4
We
beers?
do 4 flights. That's 4 flights.
So you're walking out of there with a damn good buzz.
You better have some company with you.
You better have a DD or an Uber. Sports-wise, you guys watch or follow any sports?
Unless the X Games is on, no, I'm not a sports guy.
John?
Like I said, goes and fellow fantasy football in the fall.
So the draft just happened. I'm not an NFL guy. I don't watch the football. I don't care. I mean, so you do fantasy football. What'd you think of the draft? Did the draft?
I didn't watch any of the draft.
I don't even know who went number 1.
I don't know.
Bryce, Alabama, quarterback Bryce. Can't think.
Young?
I think he's Bryce Young.
I do listen to sports podcasts, so I should know that. But yeah.
So usually on my car radio, it's 1350, which is a local sports. It's Fox Sports Radio. That's what I listen to.
Okay.
And it bores the shit out of my wife. Because don't you have music on? Because I'll listen to a song. It's like, oh, that's pretty good. She goes, honey, that's been out for years.
I was just a little surprised whenever I saw, I'm a Steeler fan, and I saw that Joey Porter Jr.
Yep. How did they get him? Because he was supposed to go in the top end of that draft.
Well, he ended up they left him out they left him out there after the first round, and that was a mistake. The Steelers had traded up to the number 1 pick of the second round, and they took him.
Well, that's where his dad played, wasn't it?
Yes, his dad was a good player and a coach. And a coach at Pittsburgh. And I know that he's tickled to death. So
you ought to be too.
So what, me?
Well, yeah. Last year, when we talked about sports last year, it was the draft. I'm a Penn State guy.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Football
I
watch.
That's all right. We'll forgive you a little bit here.
Kenny Pickett was going to be one of the big drafts, and he's Pittsburgh. Well, he's Pittsburgh too, so we had a big conversation about that.
Yeah, Kenny Pickett actually he turned out he went in the first round.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he went. Pittsburgh picked him up in the first round. They learned their lesson from Dan Marino. So I'm sorry. I still hold. Never mind.
So Josh, have you ever used a one wheel?
Oh, is that one of those things where you lean?
with the wheels like in the middle of the board.
No, I haven't. I've seen people ride them and want to be like, "Hey man, can I try that?" But I never like.
Dude, I'll have to hook you up with my stepson, my wife's oldest, Kevin. He will one wheel the shit out of everywhere. I mean, he takes it into this. He'll go down to Micho and run the freaking parks on this one.
No way, dude. Those things go fast. Apparently, you can hit a kind of all terrain sort of.
But you being a skateboarder and stuff, that's why I thought I'd ask you if you've ever tried that.
No, I haven't. But I've been to a couple music festivals where people are like fucking zooting them around, and I'm like, I want to try that. But
I'll have to hook you up with my stepson.
Yeah, get stuff for your wait staff, waitresses.
Oh, that would be the next thing. Dude, that could be the next big thing, man. Up in your tap room.
Yeah, like roller skates was in the 90s, right?
Hard no. I will say the one thing, we don't really have wait staff. We have beer tenders, so we're order at the bar, find a place to sit. When a table opens up, you move to it type of place. But I think everybody appreciates it.
Staff wise, are you guys finding it hard to keep staff, or are you with the staff you have? Are you making do? Because I know right now this industry, the service industry in a whole, is finding it hard with staff, trying to find and keep staff. You guys okay there?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about hiring on Adam a little over a year ago. I think that was like one of the hardest things was trying to get people to help out at that time. So finding someone that we knew that could jump in was great. I can't say anything more than we have a very dedicated staff. That's most everyone's been there a number of years, especially through COVID and stuff. So I don't know. We always seem kind of short staffed, but at the same point, if we bring in somebody, it's kind of a trying out period until you make a part of the family. Because that's one thing I can say with something wicked. You see the same faces because we all enjoy working there. We all do our own little part. But
I think that's what's awesome. So Josh, how often are you there around the tap room, or where's the brewery located inside the area? Is it at that? Is it in where the tap room is?
Oh yeah, it's literally like a wall away.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a big picture window, like I said, that you can see into what Josh has brewing. But
that sounds like a TV show.
Yeah.
What's Josh got brewing?
There you go.
Like the dynamic is me and Adam in the back, and then we walk through the tap room. There's John and then Nate. So between all four of us,
open kitchen as well. You can watch Nate making up your food.
Yeah, and Nate kills it. If you want to see some food porn, follow Wicked Kitchen.
Wicked Kitchen.
Instagram.
Wicked Kitchen.
Yeah. There's gonna be some serious food porn coming out of there.
We're gonna put that. We're gonna put that as a hashtag. Wicked Kitchen.
Yeah. I try and put that on all our posts as far as food wise. But yeah, Nate
and that's something I think
feed.
You guys. There are tap rooms that don't have food. And people will venture in there just to try the beer, but they're going to really venture to a spot where they can sit for a while, drink, and have some food. So I think kudos, you guys are thinking outside the box. That hey, we need to have something here to keep the seats full.
Yep.
Definitely helps, absolutely, and the fact that we kind of can, give Nate that freedom to kind of whip up anything he thinks about, and Nate has been a culinary artist for I don't know how long. I mean, he's been in Hanover working at different spots, so it's I don't
want to call him out on his age, but it's been a while.
Yeah, he kills it. He's killing it.
What anything in the summer you guys got brewing that you guys special events, any of these fundraisers you guys are doing, anything coming up throughout the summer? Any festivals you'll be at? Do you guys go out to the festivals?
Oh, well,
I know we have Snacktown Brew Fest.
Yeah, Snacktown. I mean, that's like Hanover Brew Fest. We're always at that. Adam and I keep seeing the what's the one in Harrisburg, John, that everybody goes to? It's like the farm show.
Oh yeah,
the farm show.
The farm show, is that it? They do like a beer competition there.
Show.
I want to start a meeting.
I think they do. They started that a couple years ago at the farm show, which is in January.
Yep.
They just had that PA flavor, which was the beer pairing, and
I think that's in Hershey.
No, that was at the farm show.
It was in the farm show.
So it was beer and food restaurants, and it was a beer pairing thing.
Oh, okay.
And that's kind of Dave wants to do some content with food pairings with beer, and because everybody's done it with wine. Yeah. Who gives a fuck about wine?
Oh, come on. Knock it off.
We have a few people that are thinking about it.
I know that.
Okay.
But so there are some big events like that that are around and coming up. And, we're going to have some of we're trying to get some more of the Hanover guys on this show.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I talked to Aldis. I think I have them scheduled.
Yeah. Shout out Ian and Mitch. They're good dudes.
So
we have a collab coming out that'll probably be on tap.
Yeah. We just had them over for a double IPA like 2 weeks ago. So we'll have a collab double IPA. Maybe they'll bring that in here.
They're going to be a little farther away here in a couple months. They'll be probably, I don't know, 150 feet away instead of 70 because they're coming downtown as well.
Yeah.
Are they moving downtown?
Yep.
They're going to keep their other place, or are they moving their whole?
They're going to keep production, but as far as tap room, they're moving downtown with the tap room.
From my
They're
understanding,
joining the party.
Yeah, they'll just make that a big production facility, and then the tap room will be right in the square. So we'll be like neighbors.
Do you guys participate with the brewery tours with Glenn Smith that comes into Hanover? Are you guys part of that?
Yeah, always glad to have Glenn and the guys come in, get some new faces in for sure, but get to do stuff like this and talk about the beer for a little while. That's always fun.
Yeah, so I think that's great.
He does a good job of getting the word out and people involved.
But no, as far as events this summer, I mean, you talk about Brewfest and stuff. We've found out, I wouldn't say quickly because we've done different things, in Lancaster and everything. We don't do just distribution. We're pretty much retail based. So to do a big festival, you go out and pour beer, and then someone says, "Well, where can I get your beer?" "Oh, you have to come to tap room." "Oh, I don't know if I'm ever going to come there. That's too far. That's too much of a drive." That kind of thing.
I get it.
We've kind of kept our event schedule as far as
locally
helping out with the snack down to kind of bring people to Hanover.
And, the best thing we can do to get our beer outside of Hanover is to like sling kegs into Gettysburg or York or any kind of tavern or pub,
or something like this where we're getting your word out.
Yeah.
Come see
you guys having us down.
Anything we can to kind of network and just kind of tell people what we're all about and go from there. So
But if anybody's interested, like I said, somethingwickedbrewing.com. There's an event page on there. We have a Google Calendar. You can see what we have going on. I know this summer we have a lot of dates. Bank Lane is behind us, the alley. It's one of the big things we work with Main Street Hanover. They help facilitate having that shut down, that we have outdoor seating. So we have a couple of dates that we have music and stuff going out there. But check us out on social media and see what's going on.
I think that's cool because that block where you guys are at, you guys are there on that one side. Go around the corner, Fat Pat's there.
Yep.
Keep walking around the other corner. Now it was Second to Fairness. Now it's Sign of the Horse, their second location.
Yep. Like I said, directly across the square will be all this,
So they're coming right into downtown,
so
into the downtown square.
4 spots.
We don't need to go to Brewfest. Come to Hanover for the Brewfest.
You know what? That makes it easy if you're going to do a beer crawl.
In a block.
If you're going to do a beer crawl in Hanover, it's just one block.
Yeah. You can make it happen like that for sure.
And Hanover is a growing area. There's a lot of things happening in Hanover. Downtown York has grown. Downtown Hanover has grown. I think downtown Gettysburg has really grown again.
It's the beer company, the craft breweries that are bringing families back together again because, you go somewhere, next thing you know, you got a couple of dogs there with them and a little baby, hopefully not crying, but, it's downtown York, terrible place, very scary. Now it's nice, nice restaurants, nice places to drink some beer. Hanover, it was a quiet area for the longest time, and now sounds like you guys are.
It's way more foot traffic now. Yeah. Like local businesses have been popping up, so it's definitely kind of helped us for sure.
Yeah, the foresight by the guys, Steve especially, revitalizing downtown. I mean, between us and Miscreation, Mark and Brent and them, there wasn't anything to come down to until those guys started, 8 years ago.
Yeah, because you guys have
been
around for a lot longer than some of the other locations.
Yeah. Well, we all pretty much opened up about the same time, to be quite honest. I mean, I think it's 11 years for warehouse. No, 10 years for warehouse. 9 years. Oldest opened, Miscreation opened, we opened all in the same year. So,
so guys, hey, I've had a wonderful time. Me,
We're not going to try the last beer. Come on, man.
we're getting there, man. We're getting there.
We're getting
It sounded like you were cutting us off. Man, we had a really good time. Now get out.
Any last
Ignore these two guys in uniform over here. Just ignore
any
them.
last comments you guys have? You want to put any special information out? I mean, we've had a great time having you guys sit here, tell your story, get to know you guys.
I'll tell you, it's the best beer I've had. I mean,
Yes, very good.
everything is, nothing's, like the IPA was just smooth. I mean, I was being a smart ass earlier about saying that burnt tire taste because every IPA tastes like that to me, and this did not even close. And the sour was, oh my God, delicious.
The sours were good.
And I could only wait for this one because
And I am not a sour.
What'd you just say?
I knew that was coming. The sour was good, and I tell you, and I am one of the last people on this planet to tell you that that was a good sour. But it is a good sour. I've had some sours in my days that just I've
opened up your palate.
took it.
Dave, I am your father.
Oh Lord!
I'll make you rich.
Help me
Hey,
get.
Dave, I'll make you famous.
That's it.
We should publish a book on your sayings.
Oh, that's fun. Guys, I tell you what, Dave, any last comments for these gentlemen?
No, I just think that this is great, and I mean, you guys did a awesome job on the beers. I can tell you that, and I want to come down for some of those events that you guys are having. You know, I'll bring my DSLR and come and take some pictures.
Sweet.
But yeah, I'd like to come down and take some pictures of your brew house. Not just the tap room, but the brewery itself.
Yeah, we'd
And-
love to have you guys.
and,
We'll be down for sure.
We'll give you the full treatment, man.
Yeah, we'll give you a heads up so everybody can shave and clean up. And
I don't think that's our forte. No.
I love it, though. That's true.
Kevin, any last comments?
No, I kind of said them earlier. Thank you guys. This is great beer.
So,
Good conversation.
yep. Jon and Josh, so what is going to be our cheers beer here?
No, this is chaos.
Take
Chaos.
this one away, John.
You make it. You can talk about
okay.
it. All right, so chaos is one of those things that we've tweaked a little bit over the years. It's a chocolate coconut stout. Not super sweet, but it definitely has a little chocolate to it. Has some coconut sweetness to it.
Smells delicious.
So this is a flagship that I walked into.
So this is one of the flagships that you tweaked a little bit?
Yep. So when we started, Chaos was toasted coconut flakes, or actually, I'm sorry, it was coconut extract and then cacao nibs. As far as and I changed it into an emulsified cacao product called Chilaka. I don't know if you're familiar with them. It's kind of a newer product. They kind of focus on basically getting rid of that raw ingredient, and they emulsify cacao nibs and they turned it into an aseptic puree. So it's a little bit easier to work with. As far as repeatability, you can kind of get that same flavor every time. I don't have to worry about any sort of infection or trying to sterilize the product before using it. And then I used coconut cream puree instead of the extract. So I feel like that has more of a full spectrum coconut flavor rather than like this. I don't know. I always felt like when I first started,
It tasted like suntan lotion.
Yeah, I always had this like suntan lotiony vibe. And I was like, that's got to change.
If anyone's listening this long, they didn't want to hear what I actually
Yeah, so either way, so coconut cream puree and then the emulsified cacao product along with just a oatmeal stout base.
I got to say before we cheers this out, I actually understood what he was saying there. We get some people in that they'll get so technical with like ounces and words that even though the dictionary probably don't have it
Parts
in there.
per million.
Yeah, and I'm just like, what the hell is he talking about? But you just got me in there. It's like all excited and stuff. Because
I appreciate. I try to be as transparent as possible, even if somebody doesn't know much.
I mean, nothing against the other guys, but I'm assuming they come from a little bit more of a I don't know, different background.
Yeah.
Or
Well, I hate talking over people. Like, really, it's
Hey, I'm in the automotive business. Try explaining how this works in very simplified terms. And I get what you're going with that. You got to talk down so they understand it.
yeah.
Let me down for me, brother.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole education side of it, man. Like, I
it is.
love giving that transparency to
good.
people
I
and
like this.
educating the consumer, because that's what it's all about.
I tell you what, I felt the passion from both of you guys
And hell.
for where you guys are at and what you're doing. Kudos. Keep it up, because Something Wicked has got something going on. And I can tell, you, John, you got some dedicated passion. I could tell just by the conversation here today. There was a couple times you got choked up.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And I could tell, by the brewing process, you are real passionate about what you're doing and the products you're putting out.
Yep.
And educating the next person. I love it. I've had an awesome time. I really appreciate you guys following up with my email and reaching out and agreeing to do this. We've had a wonderful time out there. And so we're going to cheers out here with Chaos. So if you're out there, let's pick up a glass, whatever you got in it. Too bad it ain't this. And let's sit here and raise one with Jon and Josh from Something Wicked Brewing Company in Hanover and the CPP. And let's all be bonded by beer. Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.